Good morning to all. So in this lecture, I am going to tell you about the variables, data types, and how one can take input from the user. So first of all, before starting with the literal, like if you go back to your English when you started learning English, then first of all, the first thing that we have learned is the alphabets. In mathematics, we learn the digits. So similarly, before starting any programming language, we should understand that what type of information may be required that we want to represent in programming language. So the information, like as I discussed in lecture 1, the type of the information that we may need to store in our program, it can be the characters. Characters are something that are denoted by a single alphabet. It can be alphabet, it can be digit, or it can be, just let me zoom it. So it can be the alphabet, it can be the digits, it can be some special character like hash, dollar sign, full stop, or something like that. So if we enclose it with a single quote, then it becomes a character. So single alphabet, single digit, or single special character, they come under the category of character. String, if we want to use word, then a group of characters is known as the string. It is abbreviated as str. In Python, this character and strings, they are collectively known as string and abbreviated as str. Just a minute. Str. The next thing that you may need to represent are the numbers. These numbers, if we are representing integer numbers, then they are known as integers and are abbreviated as int. Whereas the float numbers, if we want to represent some decimal numbers, they come under the category of float numbers and they are abbreviated as float. Now, over here, note that we have mainly three categories in Python: str, string, integer, int, float, which is float itself. And with the help of this three category, we can represent anything that is there in our English, mathematics, or in physics, chemistry, biotech, civil, mechanical, electronics. We can represent anything, right? So it is the reason that these things we should know. Now the question may be that why we have categorized this thing into string, integer, and float. Why it is necessary? It is necessary because all these numbers, when we are going to store these numbers in our computer memory, it will take different amount of memory. Like string or a single character, it takes only 1 byte, means only 8 bit. Integer, it may take 4 bytes or 8 bytes. Float, again, it may take 8 bytes. So depending, since they are occupying different memory size, so we have to define the data type of the value that we are planning to store into the memory, with the help of which the compiler or the interpreter is there in Python, so it will get to know that how much amount of memory need to be stored. Okay, so and these collectively are known as literals or the constant. Why they are known as constant? They are known as constant because the meaning of these words, like if I say digit 1, so the meaning of this digit 1 or the quantity 1, it remains constant. 1 means only one object. If I say 23, the meaning of 23 remains constant. Means suppose if there are 23 objects, means that is the quantity of the objects that are present. So similarly, if I talk about the alphabets A or the string hello, so their meaning remains constant. It is not changing with respect to time. So these are known as constants or literals. So we have three literals: string, integer, and the float. Now coming to the variables. Now as the word is indicating, if we go with the English meaning of the variable, so variable is something whose value is going to be changed, which value can change in like presently if it is 4, in the next after some time it may become 10 or so on. So if the value of the variable is changing, then it is known as the variable. Now what is the use of the variable? Now in our mathematics, school day mathematics, we have done this type of a problem, like Ankit is 4 times as old as his brother Mayank at present. After 10 years he will be twice the age of the brother. Find their present ages. And to solve this, the first step that we used to do is let x and y be the present ages of Ankit and Mayank, and then we form this equation. Now what is the purpose of this line? The purpose of this line is it helps us to form the equation so that later on we can substitute the value of y to get the value of x. So in the same way, whenever if we want to store the value, then we need to create the variable. So variables, like we can store the values of character type, string type, int type, or the float type into the memory. And to store it into the memory, we need to declare a variable. We need to create a variable. Variables are the names given to the memory slot in which the values will be stored. It means the memory, because we are storing all the values onto the memory. So to refer that part of the memory, we have to provide some name to the memory so that later on we can access that value with a variable name. It is something like if you are living in a hostel, or if you are living in a hostel, or if we have a house numbers, but most of the people, especially the people who are living near to you, your neighbors, they do not call you with a house number. They call you with the name, like the house of Kapoor, Jain's flat. So in this way, that is the name of that particular flat or the bungalow. So in the same way, the memory slot, they get its name in terms of variable name, right? So variable name, it is also known as the identifier, and it is associated with a value. Value of the variable can change during the program execution. It means that suppose if I write a equals to 2, and later on if I write a equals to 5, then now over here a is a variable that is carrying the value integer value, and over here the value of a is 2, but in the next step the value of a has changed. Now if I execute this, and yesterday I told you, in the second lecture I told you that if you click over here in X, this is the variable inspector, and over here this a, whatever variables that we are going to create, that will be listed over here. So you can see a is over here and the type is int. This type indicates that this a is carrying the value integer value. If I put my cursor over here, then you can see the value also. So the value is 2. Now if I put a equals to 5 also, and now if I execute, so you will see that now when I bring my cursor over here, then the value is 5. It means previously it was 2, but now it is 5. So the variable can change its value in the next step. Now over here, one more thing, when we are writing a command, like suppose if I write something like a plus 5. So it means in the first line it is a equals to 2, and in the second line it is a equals to a plus 5. A plus 5. So it means over here, as per the mathematics, if we look for this statement like a mathematician, then it seems wrong, because as per the mathematics, a equals to a plus 5 cannot be true, because a and a on the left side and a on the right side will cancel each other. But in programming languages, it is true. How programming languages work is that whatever comes on the right side of the equal to sign, that will be evaluated first, and this value will then be assigned to the variable that is there on the left hand side. So it means that over here the value of a is 2. So this 2 will be substituted over here. So it is something like 2 plus 5, and the answer, if it is going to be evaluated, it will be 7. It means this value 7 will be assigned to this variable. So let us check this. If I execute this, and now if I bring my cursor over here, you can see that the value of the a is 7. So this is how the variable works. Now apart from integer, I can like also store the string, suppose ABC. So now if I store ABC, and let me remove this, and if I execute, it is going to take the form of the string. Now a is a string having the value, having this value A, B, C, and this single quote, it indicates that it is the string. This type mentioned over here, it also indicates that it is the string. And now over here you can note that previously, like if I write a equals to 2 over here, in the first line a equals to 2 is there. If I execute this, then the type of the variable a is int, right? But if I execute both the lines, means first I assign value 2 to a and then ABC to a. Now if I execute this, it is not generating any error, and the type is of a is string. Means in Python, like if this type of code, if I try to run this type of a code in C language, it is going to generate an error, because in languages like C, once we decide the data type of the variable, then we cannot change it in the remaining part of the program. So it means that once if a's integer is variable, then we cannot change it to character or the string in C language. But in Python, because Python is a language mainly developed for all type of engineers, means it is not only for the computer science engineer, it is also meant, and in fact the main purpose of the Python is for the programmers who does not know complex programming. And so the main purpose is that the non-computer science engineer, whatever is there in their domain knowledge, so they can reflect that with the help of the program. So it is the reason that to avoid any confusion, it is like Python, most of the time Python you can read it like the simple English language. So over here you can change the data type of the variable just by assigning the value of different data type to the same variable, right? If you have any doubt, kindly put it in the comment box so that I will take the questions at the end. So this is about the variables. That variable simply hold the value, and it can hold the value of integer type, string type, and it can also hold the value of float type. So if I do a comment over here, and now if I put, so it is a float type. One more thing over here, this hash, when I put this hash, then these two lines over here, these two lines, they are known as comments. What comments means? Comments means that these are the set of lines that the interpreter is not going to execute. It means they will be treated as a simple text, and they will not be considered as a part of your program. These comments are mainly used for the programmer to make your program readable. Okay, so if like suppose there are two people who are working on the same code, so if I do not write a comment, then the second programmer will not be able to understand that what is the purpose of writing this command. Sorry. What is the purpose of writing this command? So with the help of the comment, we can put instruction, instruction for the programmer who is reading your program. Okay, so by placing this hash, you can do the commenting. A short key to do a comment is control slash. So just if you press control and forward slash, then it is going to uncomment. And again, if you are going to again select, and if you press control slash, it is going to make a comment. You can also, if you go to edit, from edit also, wait, comment is not there. So over here you can do the commenting and uncommenting by removing it, or by just by pressing control plus forward slash, right? So this is about the variables. Now apart from this, there are some rules that we have to follow while giving name to any variable. So first is that the variable, it is a sequence of one or more characters used to provide a name for a given program element. It is case sensitive. Case sensitive means that over here, if I write a equals to 3, now this small a and this capital A, they are different. They are different, right? So over here it seems that as per our English language, we can consider both as same, but in as per this Python, they are not same, right? So if I execute this, you will be able to see that it is going to list two variables, capital A and small a, and both are different. Small a is carrying the value 5.6 and this a is carrying the value 3, right? So it is case sensitive. Alphabets, capital and lowercase, both are considered different. Next, the identifiers means the keywords. It may contain only the alphabets, digits and the underscore. It means the variable name cannot have symbols like full stop, comma, plus, minus, dollar sign. So that type of the symbols should not be there in the variable name. Next, it should not start with a digit or underscore. It means, like suppose if I created this, if I start this variable name as this 2a, okay, then it is going to generate an error. If I execute this, it has generated an error, invalid decimal literals, means it is not allowed. If I try with something like hash or this at the right sign, then again it has created an error. Why? Because it is not allowed as per the rules of variable name, that we can start only with alphabets. The variable can contain alphabets, digit and underscore, but it should not start with digit or underscore. So this is the rules that we should follow. Now some of the variables that you are going to find in Python, they contain underscore, they are started with underscore, but that identifiers or the variables, they have some special meaning that we are going to discuss in detail later on in the coming lectures. Spaces are not allowed, means if I write something like a space b, now this is not allowed. The variable name should not contain space, so it is invalid syntax. Okay, so this is about the rules of the variables that we should follow. Now apart from this variable name, there are some keywords that are present over in all the programming languages, and keywords are some predefined words which are preserved by the programming language. Preserve means that we cannot use that words for creating our variables. Okay, and if we try to use that name for our variable, then it is going to clash with the existing keyword, and it may generate an error. Okay, so for example, over here, if I try to use like int 3. So int, it is used to mention the data type, like as you can see if I click over here. So int, it is the data type. So if I declare my variable name as int and if I try to run, then you can see over here it has put int and int. Now these are going to clash. Like if I am going to use this int again in my program, then it is going to clash with the system. Okay, so this we are going to discuss again in the tomorrow lecture, because when I am going to discuss about, like, there is some concept related to type conversion where we need to use the function int. So over there, this variable name that we have created int, it is going to clash with that, and we are going to end with the error, or we are going to get a different output. Different output means we will not get the desired output. So we should avoid using all the keywords that are present in the system, in the programming language. Now after this, the next is the input. How we can take the input from the user. Now before discussing about the input, the main thing, like if we look at, like, if suppose if you are signing in to the Gmail page, so the first step that you used to give is the user ID and the password. Means you need to provide the inputs to the Gmail page. In fact, when you open your browser, then just after opening the browser, you need to provide the input in the form of the web page, right? Then only that with the help of the internet, the server will be connected and that particular web page will be open. So it means the first step, whatever we are using, the first step will be provided by us only, means by the user. Then only the processing will start, and accordingly some output will be generated. For example, if we are talking about the web pages, the first input that we used to give is the name of the website. That input will be processed and the request will be sent to the server. Means all this sending request to the server, then server is going to send the pages back. So all this comes under the processing, and once that pages are received by our system, then it will be displayed. So that displaying is the generation of the output. So all the programmings that we are going to do, it mostly contains first taking input from the user, second processing the data, and third generating the output. Okay, in fact, if you look at your the way humans used to take a decision, so first of all we take some input with the help of our senses, right? And then that input will be sent to our brain, and then brain used to process the things, and brain decides what to do. And once it is decided, then the decision is reflected with the help of some output. Like output can be the movement of the hands, legs, or like person starts listening or start saying anything. So it can be something, some actions will be there. So over here also, when we start writing a program, the first thing that we should learn is how to take input. So to take input from the user, we have a simple command, like suppose num, and the keyword function name is input. Simple by writing input, and within the within the parenthesis, means these brackets, I can put the message for the user, like enter any number. So now if I simply enter, so it is going to display this message that I have mentioned over here, and then our rectangular box will open, and in this rectangular box I may enter any number. Like suppose I entered 25, and after writing 25, simply I press enter, and now this command is executed. This tick sign means that the command is executed successfully. Now if I open this variable inspector, over here you will be able to see this num, right? And num, the value is 25. It means the value that we have assigned, now that we have entered, it is assigned to variable num, right? So it is how simply using this input we can give the we can ask user to enter the data. And the syntax is simply we have to first mention input. All this character input, they are in lowercase. If we try, suppose if by mistake if I write capital I, then it, and if I try to execute, it is going to generate the error. Okay, that input name input is not defined. So we need to be careful while using it, that it should be small as per the syntax, right? So the command is input, and within the parenthesis I can enter the message for the user, and this message then will then be displayed over here, so that user will be like clear that what type of value user we are expecting user to enter. Now suppose if I do not enter anything over here, so what will happen? So if I do not put anything, simply if I use input parenthesis without any message to the user, so again it is going to work without any message, because we have not provided any message, so it is not going to display anything, and it will be blank for the user. If user already know that what type of value user has to enter, then user is going to enter. Otherwise it will be difficult for the user to enter the value, because user will not be able to understand that what type of value user has to enter. So it is always better to put some message for the user. Okay, but even if we do not put it, it is going to work, right? As 26. So now if I check it in the variable inspector, so you can see num and 26 is present, right? So in this way we can take the input. Now one thing that you can note over here, that I entered 26, which is a number, and I was expecting num to be an integer variable. But over here, if you look at this variable inspector, so over here the data type is str. So I was expecting 26. If I look at the value, then 26 is there, but it is inside the single quote, and inside the single quote means that it is taken as a string. It is not taken as the number. So it means that this 26 which I entered, it is not taken as a number, it is taken as a string, right? So it means, why it happens? It happens because it is the function, that input is a function that always return the value in string format. It means that if I run this and if I entered 26, then number will also be taken in the string form. If suppose if I enter execute it, and if I enter suppose Nishant, then also it is going to be executed, and then Nishant will be stored in the string form. Okay, it means that if I execute this, and if I want to get the integer number from the user, means if I enter 26 and if I want 26 to be like num to have the integer data type, means 26 should be taken as integer. So to do that, I need to do some type conversion. Means because input, it is the function, input is a function that always return back the value in string form. So if it is string form, then I have to convert it into the integer. So how to do that conversion, that we will discuss in the tomorrow's lecture. So till now, if any doubt is there, then kindly put it in the comment box. So any doubt, anyone? Okay, so thank you. If you have any doubt later on also, so you can put it in the comment box. I will reply over there only. And Do share my video and subscribe my channel, like my video. Thank you so much.